So you want to make viral AI videos and make money with them? Well, no worries, I've got you covered in this video. The first thing you need to do is head over to ChatGPT and write a prompt for your story. Well, something similar to that, but as you might find out that this is not a very nice way of getting a story. So a better or alternative method for this would be to find a video which you really like. For example, if I open this video, you can just copy the link and go to this website, DupDub, and then on the transcription, you can paste the link of the video. And then this will generate the story from the video for you. Simply confirm that, as it will charge some credits from your account. And once you have gotten the new transcribed text, simply copy it from here and go back to ChatGPT. And all you have to do is simply write, reword this in better English. Or you could say simple English, which is easier to understand. Then paste all the text here. And basically what this will do, it will make this text more readable, so you are able to understand it more clearly as compared to this one. And now, since we want our images, we're also going to ask ChatGPT to generate a prompt for us, which we're going to use to generate those images. And now we have gotten the prompts, we can simply copy them and then move over to Leonardo AI to get our images. And here, simply select AI image generation. You can choose any model you prefer. I actually prefer Dreamshaper V7. They also have some new models like Leonardo Vision XL or Diffusion XL. We could try either of them if you would like. Last but not least, make sure to select the aspect ratio which you would like, since we want a short, so 4:3 works for us. And we're simply going to paste in our prompt and click on the generate button. Do note that this charges a lot of credits, so make sure how many images you want, be very precise with them, and then click on the generate button. And here we have gotten some nice images which we can use. You can generate any number of images which you would like to use for your videos. Up next, we have this tool which is ElevenLabs. This is what we will be using to get our voiceovers done, so we can convert our script into a voiceover. Simply sign up here. You can use Google to sign in. Once you're here, simply tap on the voice library button so you can select a voice which you like. You can filter them by trending or with most users. So I'm going to select with most users and I will try this one.
We should all be thankful for those people.
Since I like this one, I can simply add it to my library and I'll just keep it the Valley Girl name. I'll add voice. And then click on the finish button, then go back to the main homepage. Here you can select the voice by simply pasting in the name here, select it, and then go back to ChatGPT and select our story. And then finally click on the generate button to get your story.
At its strongest, the Roman Empire had about...
And then from here you can download your audio, just like that, by tapping on the download button and save it on your computer wherever you would like. And then once you're finished with your voiceovers and you've gotten all of your pictures, you can simply save them in your computer. And then we can move on to the next part, which is editing them all out and making them a whole one. And how we do that, we're gonna use this software called Adobe After Effects. You can feel free to use any video editing tool you would like. I prefer using Adobe After Effects, so I'm gonna use that. So what we have to do, first of all, we have to drag in all of our images which we are gonna use, and then drag them into the composition. And we will create a composition for as long as we want. For example, I'm just gonna keep it around 18 seconds. And then I'm gonna drag these images. So I'm gonna delete all the parts of the images which are not in the first half. And this way we only have one image in the beginning. And like that, we're gonna keep this one on 4 seconds as well. So we have to delete these 3. You can cut a part of a layer by tapping the Ctrl-Shift-D on your keyboard. That's what I am doing. Simply select them. By holding the Shift, you can select as many you would like. And then simply press Ctrl-Shift-D. That will duplicate the layers and cut the remaining parts. And select them by holding the Control key and then pressing the left mouse button. Then simply hit the delete button to delete them, which layers we don't want. But since I accidentally deleted this layer, you can always come back to the timeline where you would like to start that animation. Simply drag it here. And now we have that picture. And now all we have left is to cut this picture. So I'm just quickly going to delete this part. And now we have our separate images which we would like for the animation. If you think that is too short, you can drag them in like that and increase the time. And now we have a nice effect where all the images are changing. And now last but not least, we have to drag in our voiceover. And once we have dragged in our voiceover, we can do a lot of things with these images. We can animate them. Since we are in the After Effects, that is where it shines. We could mask out the characters and make a part of them move. For example, we could make his hand move here. So I'm gonna mask this part of his hand. Just make sure you get those edges properly and that all the areas are aligned and no background area is selected in the image. Make sure you get the best animation and there is no other layer. And once we have gotten a part of his hand, we can duplicate this layer and then delete the mask from the other layer. And on this layer, we have to simply select a puppet tool and place some pins. So I'm gonna place 3 on the top of his arm and 1 on his hand. And by pressing the U key, we can see the keyframes. So I'm just gonna copy these keyframes and paste it on the last second where this animation should end. For example, here. And then we have to go in the middle to animate this hand. So I'm gonna click on this one and drag it all the way here. And then by selecting all the layers, we can go to keyframe assistant and then easy ease. That will smooth out the animation. But now as you can see, there are 2 hands. So what we have to do to eliminate this, we have to open this layer by double tapping that. And then by selecting the brush key, we can draw all over that area. You can select the colors by holding the Alt key on your keyboard, and that will enable the eyedropper tool, which you can use to select a color and then brush over that area with that color. Just like how I'm doing here for this part and this part as well. We can always change the colors to make sure the background blends in nicely with the overall image. And make sure to do this for all the characters you would like to animate. And now if we go back to our composition layer, we can see that we no longer have a second hand in the animation. And now in order to remove these areas which are in the animation, we can simply enable our main layer, which is our hand, and then going to the mask. We can see clearly we have not selected the mask properly, so we can adjust that accordingly. Make sure only the hand is selected and no other areas are visible. This way that will remove all the layers of the background which were disturbing our animation. And once you have applied the mask properly, your character should animate like this, and you can see a clear movement on his hand, and there is no background which is disturbing our animation. And you can do the same thing for his head. If you like to move the head area, you could duplicate this layer and add some movement on the head, or you could also duplicate this layer and select and mask his clothes, so you could animate those clothes he's wearing. And once you have masked all the areas you would like to be in the animation, you can search in the effects and presets for the turbulent displace, drag it on top of our layer, give it a nice value for size, and then also for the amount. Make sure the anti-aliasing is set for high so we get the best quality out of that. In the evolution options, you can leave this as it is, or you could choose to cycle the evolution after every frame. So we're gonna go to the end of our footage and change this to around 3. And now we have a nice solid animation on his clothes and on his hand. And since this is a background, you could apply a lot of styles here. For example, you can make this black and white if that is what you wanted to describe a old time period. You could change it even to brownish color. But if you want to do it to black and white, you could do this with tritone. This is a nice effect we can use here. We could also change its colors if we go to the end of the footage and place some keyframes around the midtones and the highlights, and go back to the beginning of this footage and change this to a nice brownish shade like we had before. Similar to this, we have a footage where the colors are changing. This looks really nice and smooth. For this one, you could have a scaling animation where the scale is a lot higher, where the animation scales out from the beginning to the end. And if we go to the end, we could do this 100. And you should also always use easy ease on all the keyframes. Now if we have a look, we have a smooth animation on our image. For this one, we could scale this up for around 140%. And then if we position it to the right, we could have a nice animation where the character is moving from one direction to the other. And if we easy ease that out as well, we can have a look, and we have a solid transition here as well. And for this image, we could add a lot of things like rainfall. For example, we can have a rainfall effect on this image. We can adjust the quality here. Make sure the color is a bit more on the darker side so it looks muddish. I think that's the natural color of rain because it is a bit blue and muddy at the same time. And if we do that and change our drops to around 6,000 and our speed to about 9,000, we can clearly see a lot of rain already. But if you don't want to have a lot of them, you could always reduce the speed, and that will lower the amount of drops and lower their size as well. And now we have rain animating in this footage. To give it a nice touch, we could also have vignette, and we could adjust its amount by coming to the last and lowering or adjusting. And at the end, we could give it around a value of 333, and at the beginning, we should always keep it around 50. So we have a nice transition of vignette effect, and then it makes a big difference if you have a look here. And with that, we can end our animation session here. And for the render, all you have to do is simply tap Ctrl M to open the render queue. You can choose high quality QuickTime. I'm gonna do that. And on the format options, simply go for DNx HD as that's the best quality render. And choose a location where you would like to store your animation. You can also give it a name. Then click on the render button. And now if you have a look, you have your animation ready right
At
here.
its strongest, the Roman Empire had about 12% of all people on Earth. This makes it a moderately sized empire compared to others in history. It was the 28th largest ever. The wars between Romans and Persians went on for a very long time, about 721 years. This is the longest conflict.
And as you can see, this came out really well. Well, this is how you make viral AI videos. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Consider leaving a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.